Breaks the Internet is the sequel to the first Wreck-It Ralph film, and this film is behind the people who made Tangled, Frozen, Zootopia, Big Hero 6, Moana, and the first Wreck-It Ralph, along with Princess and the Frog. And the first Wreck-It Ralph is a film that I absolutely adore and love. If you've seen my first review, you obviously know it's one of, if not my favorite Walt Disney computer animated film. It's between that and Tangled until the end of the days, I guess. But in this film, the story revolves around Mr. Litwack's arcade. And this film takes place 6 years after the events from the first Wreck-It Ralph film. And in one particular day, Vanellope's Sugar Rush game breaks down, and her game is in danger of being plugged out. And so Ralph and Vanellope have to go on a journey through the internet in order to save Vanellope's game and head back home to the arcade. I was honestly really excited to see this movie. I liked the concept of bringing something new to this sequel. I love the first Wreck-It Ralph film. I am a humongous fan of that film. And when I first heard they were making a sequel, I couldn't honestly believe it. It was sort of out of nowhere too. And that was like a couple of years ago when they first confirmed that Wreck-It Ralph was getting a sequel. But it wasn't until months ago that we realized it was going to be taking place in the internet. And I had some concerns about it, but later on I thought to myself, you know what, this might actually be a pretty neat concept. The results are all in my head right now. I loved everything about this movie. Ralph Breaks the Internet is a great time. I seriously do love this movie. I think it has a lot of great things in it. I do not think it's as good as the first Wreck-It Ralph film, though, just by a tad. I only have one issue with this movie, and I'll get into that later. It's only one small issue. It's literally a small issue. But let's talk about everything that makes this movie shine. This film comes up with many clever and unique ways to make the story so much fun. There are a lot of elements in Ralph Breaks the Internet that are funny, clever, smart, and charming. And that's what made the first Wreck-It Ralph film so great. It was funny, smart, clever, and charming. This film is sort of like the first Wreck-It Ralph film, but it has a lot of different elements to it, and the elements that they add are so smart and clever. And I absolutely love how the internet works in this film, with no spoilers, but how everything is told just by storytelling and characters. How everything works in this internet, it actually feels like a real world, and it's absolutely mind-blowing on how well told this movie was, because there are a lot of clever things that are thrown into this film, and literally this entire film takes place in the internet. I'd say literally the first 15 minutes is in the arcade, and then the rest of the film is entirely in the internet. So I'd say if you are a huge gamer like I am, and you love the first Wreck-It Ralph so much, and you're expecting a lot of arcade action in this film, you're not gonna get that. But however, if you are a huge fan of the first Wreck-It Ralph, I'd say go see this movie, because it has a lot of elements that the first Wreck-It Ralph had. That they're definitely there. They are definitely there. It's different than the first Wreck-It Ralph, but it's not a bad different. It's really good. It is honestly really good, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the characters. Let's talk about Vanellope first. Technically, this entire movie revolves around this character. You could say this movie is all about her. And I absolutely love that they tried to focus on Vanellope. Because in the first film, they focused on Wreck-It Ralph being a villain and trying to be a hero and trying to do great stuff. I love how they actually gave Vanellope her own story in this film. Which leads me to my flaw with this film. My only flaw, technically, with this film is they made Ralph sort of like a sidekick. And it's not really bad unless you think of it as another way. The bad thing about it is they didn't give him much character. I felt like that Ralph wasn't really a strong character in this film. He's likable. I really do love Ralph. But I feel like he's not really a strong character. I think he's just there to be a sidekick or something like that. And Vanellope, though, she is really great. Way better than her character was in the first movie. I'd say, which is not bad though. Vanellope in the first movie, she was really good. Honestly, I liked the character. She got annoying sometimes, but I felt like in this film, her character was a lot more lovable. You can relate to her. And she comes across many things once she enters enters the internet, and her experience is just her experience in this new world that she's never seen before is absolutely amazing. And without any spoiling, she comes across something that absolutely changes her. It absolutely changes her, and that's great character development right there. I absolutely appreciated what this film tried to go for with this character. Now let's talk about two characters that I'd say took like the midpoint of this entire film. Shank and yes, these two characters are really, really great characters. They're supportive. They're so much fun to watch on screen. They're funny. They're serious. And you can tell they know the internet better than any other character that's that's like in front in this film. You can tell that these are some of the two characters that know the internet better than anybody else up front in this film. And that's absolutely great. That's the characters that we know. Because in this film, the internet is huge. Like, it's endless, technically. And I loved how the creators managed to do that. Create a world where everything is endless. But that's not what makes Shank and Yes so great. What makes these two characters great is that, first off, Shank, she is a BA. First off, she is totally BA. She actually has some character development, and her friendship between her and Vanellope, their short friendship between these two characters, are really touching. There are some moments near the third act of the last act of the film that are actually pretty charming, and I'm not gonna spoil any of these, but these are actually really charming moments, I have to say. And the character, yes, she is so energetic, she is so great, and she definitely knows the internet like the back of her eye. And I absolutely love that. And that's what this movie captured really great. Great characters. This movie does have a lot of great characters. This movie is filled with them. And Yes and Shank are two perfect examples. I think a little downfall that made me a little upset, and it's not a flaw at all, it's just that I wish like characters like Calhoun and Felix would be in this film a lot more. They are present in the film, but it's technically for like the first 15 minutes of the film. Then they're gone. They're just gone. They're not seen ever again until, I guess, maybe some parts of the ending of the film. But I really wish those characters were present throughout the film, technically. They didn't have to, they wouldn't really have to be in the entire film, but I really wish we got to see a little bit more of them. That's just me, at least, because I love Felix and I love Calhoun. There's two great characters that are part of the first Wreck-It Ralph. And yes, there are so many references in this film. There are so many noticeable characters as well. And by the way, the scene with all the Disney princesses, where Vanellope runs into the Disney princesses, it's not a spoiler because it's technically in the trailer. That's if you guys haven't seen the trailer, which I'm so sorry, by the way. But anyway, if you guys seen that in the trailer, where that part where Vanellope runs into the Disney princesses, you guys just might look at that and be like, that doesn't look like that interesting. Watch it. Please watch it. It is so great. It's not that long of a scene, but every minute of it, I absolutely loved it. And all the other references that are just thrown into this film are absolutely great. Even though, like, technically 90% of these references are in the internet. And the others are just thrown in, like, the first 15 minutes of the movie, which are, like, in the arcade. The biggest thing that caught my attention in this movie was the relationship between Ralph and Vanellope. As the film progresses, you have this sort of feeling, you have this sort of you have this sort of heartwarming feel. And once it gets to a certain point in the film, which I'm not going to spoil what happens, once it gets to a certain point of the film, the friendship between Vanellope and Ralph absolutely scrabbles. And it absolutely lightens you up or breaks your heart, honestly. I thought the writing in this film was really great. Not just the writing in the entire film, but the writing between these two characters, Ralph and Vanellope, and their friendship. I thought that was really, really well set up, honestly. But anyway, you guys, Ralph Breaks the Internet is a great time. I love this movie. It's almost as good as the first Wreck-It Ralph film, but it's definitely not better than it. Just by a tad. The first Wreck-It Ralph is better, in my opinion, just by a tad. But I do suggest you go see this film. It's out in theaters. Definitely go see this. I had a blast watching this film, and I honestly am gonna try to go see it again sometime. I don't know when, but I'm gonna try to see it again. Also, try to see Creed 2 as well, because that's another movie that's out and stuff. But yeah, I'd say Ralph Breaks the Internet was a really great sequel, and I was not disappointed at all by this film. I'm going to give Ralph Breaks the Internet an A. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Look forward to more reviews that I will be doing soon. What I really want you guys to look forward to is my next review. I'm actually going to be reviewing Ralph Breaks the Internet again, but my next review is going to be a spoiler review. I want to do a spoiler review with my buddy. He also saw Ralph Breaks the Internet. So we're going to talk about our thoughts on the film for a short time. Then we're going to spoil the film, but it's only for people who've seen the film. If you haven't seen Ralph Breaks the Internet, watch this review and stay away from my spoiler review until you've seen the movie. But anyway, another thing that I want you to look forward to is my review for Rocky. I want to review that movie because Creed 2 came out. I want to try to see Creed 2. Maybe sometime in the future I'll review the other Rocky movies, but I want you to look forward to my review for the first Rocky movie, because that film is a classic, and I want to share my personal thoughts on that film. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the best. I love every single one of you. Thank you guys for 474 subscribers. And as always, I am MarioFan520, and I will see you next time. Peace out.